Well, we're finally here. After covering all of the ones that are pretty much universally beloved or pretty much hated, we're now entering the far more controversial era of Kingdom Hearts games from the DS onward. To be honest, I've been both looking forward to and kind of dreading these, as they all have aspects that I genuinely adore, but also stuff that I really despise about them. And first off is going to be the first of the Nintendo DS games, Recoded. I was originally going to do 358 first, but decided to start off with Recoded due to just liking it more. Plus, it did technically come out first, as the episodic phone game in Japan, just simply called Coded, was released, but then it just got rebranded as Recoded when it came to the DS. So what exactly did I adore about this game? And what did I despise about it? Well, how about we stop wasting time and just get into it, shall we? Alrighty then, let us get into this business. I'm going to start off with what I think was, without a shadow of a doubt, the single best part of this game, and that is easily its combat. In fact, a cool thing about Recoded's combat is that it's the first game in the entire franchise to introduce the command deck style of gameplay, which ended up being the template for games like Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance. And honestly, I absolutely adore the command deck system. It is without a doubt my favorite combat system in all of Kingdom Hearts. It mixes so damn well with the combat style of 1, and it feels like a perfect mix of both old and new into something truly special. And holy hell, were there a boatload of commands to choose from several forms of magic to crazy amounts of different attacks. Hell, if you put certain commands in the Matrix board, you could create an all new, even more powerful ability, something that ended up kind of becoming the basis for the fusions of Birth by Sleep, but we will get to that when we get to that. For now, we talk about Recoded, baby. In addition to this lovely little command deck, Keyblades were also retooled to be completely different. And while I think the command deck was the best addition that came from Recoded, the stuff they do with the Keyblades was actually the most interesting to me. You see, unlike other games before where you would just kind of equip a Keyblade and be done with it, the Keyblades in Recoded came with sort of pseudo levels that increased the better you did in battle. And with each level, your Keyblade would gain temporary abilities like passive buffs or additional combos. Honestly, this was such a cool idea. It gave you much more of a reason to swap around Keyblades other than just the additional strength boost, or because it gave you an extra skill. I actually hope Square's tries to implement this in Kingdom Hearts 4, as it's such a unique way of getting you to reuse your older weaponry. And to be honest, it does seem like 3 is the closest we're getting to right now, as in 3 you could level up Keyblades. Plus the forms do kind of fit what Recoded did in a, weird sort of way. Whew boy, I am both excited and very nervous for when we finally get to 3. That is gonna be a wild game to talk about. But not now, it's all about Recoded right now. So let's get back to you, my sweet baby. And lastly for the combat, let's talk about how you level up in it. You see, unlike how pretty much every other Kingdom Hearts game before it, the DS games were far more experimental with how you leveled up, with both of them utilizing a grid-based system. And in Recoded, you use what are called level up chips that are put into the grid, and each time you do, you gain a level. Of course, level up chips aren't the only kind of chip you can obtain. There are chips to increase strength, your defense, hell, there are even just blank chips you can get your hands on to be a temporary fill-in until you get a better chip to install later on. And from time to time, you will run into these strange red blocks that stop your progress in certain sections, but can use a debug frag to destroy them. It's such a really fun system to utilize throughout the entire game. I could go on about this, but I think we need to move on to what else was great. And that's the level design. Now, when I got Recoded, I expected it to just kind of be a run through of all the original levels, but wow, I was really in for a shock, as several levels were given both changes and additions to add to the experience. And as a plus, the changes they made to them were actually pretty damn cool, I must say. Like adding in a stealth section into Wonderland, or turning Olympus into a turn-based RPG. Hell, even a few bosses got changed to how you fought them. You fight Guard Armor in the style of a 2D action platformer, and Trickmaster is more of a run and gun shooter. This is easily one of the best and smartest decisions in the entire game, as this makes several bosses feel genuinely new and fresh, instead of just facing the same boss in the same area again. Reach Into Memories already kinda did that, So yeah, I don't think Recoded could have gotten away with it without, everyone pointing out how repetitive it would have gotten. Also, I think we need to talk about how good these cutscenes look and how fucking jamming the music is. The fact that these games could run cutscenes this well on the DS is pretty damn nuts. Massive props to Square for casting whatever black magic they did on this. And even more black magic to just how much this soundtrack slapped. The data fights, well, the data fights when you're battling the bugs anyways, not the other data fights we probably all know about, have music that is just I want to chew on it, it's so delicious. And, well, that's all I've got for the pros. I had a pretty good amount to say, so how about we move on to the cons, shall we? Alright, let's do this shit. You all know what I'm gonna bring up first for this game. We need to talk about its story. Recoded's story is still, to this day, the worst one in the entire franchise. It is so convoluted, so pointless, so dumbassery on every level, and so unbelievably unnecessary, I cannot even fathom for even a second they thought about it for more than maybe 30 minutes. For a small breakdown of what goes on, Jimmy's journal just ends up getting infected with bugs, and as a result, Mickey, instead of just, going to buy Norton antivirus or something, creates a data version of Sora to go destroy them. And from there on, it spirals into complete and total insanity. Sora from the data world somehow just ends up in the real world, and then Maleficent and Pete somehow figure out how to get into the book, and then like a version of Riku enters the picture, and then you fight that version of Riku who gets infected with the bugs, and then fucking Roxas and Castle Oblivion come into play. It's so fucking confusing, dude. I will admit that I do like the message that this game has of accepting hurt as a part of you, and using said hurt as a way to help you grow instead of letting it chain you down and hurt you. That is a very good message that actively looks at something that is normally seen as a bad thing and uses it to say personal growth is helpful with hurt. But the rest of it is a mess of pure nonsense that just happens and is just plain terrible and ends up making the journey to such a fantastic lesson an unpleasant, anger-filled slog. I've tried to give it another shot, I really have, but it just loses me like 30% in and I just keep giving up over and over. I can't even to this day think of a way to fix the story, it's just that much of a mess. Another issue this game has is with its level design, more specifically all of the data levels. Now I enjoy the data levels for being sort of like cool little challenge runs that are fun to do, and the points they give you help you unlock stuff, so it's not like they don't have a reward to them. But man, they get really boring after a while. They're all just the same two colors and pretty much all versions of different challenges. I mean, I get why. They probably wanted to go for the representation of red equals bad and blue equals good, but after like 5 or so of them, my interest kept dulling until I just didn't care. At least the boss levels look cool, I'll give them that. And finally, that final level fucking sucks. The game has you in Castle Oblivion, running through all of the levels you beat before, but without any of the gimmicks or cool designs that made them so interesting to go through. They're all just a bunch of dull white rooms with the characters just sitting in there. Maybe they just ran out of space or something, but wow, this last level is a boring, tedious slog. The final boss is awesome, sure, but everything around it just sucks ass. Yes, even this secret ending is bullshit. It's the worst secret ending in the franchise. It's literally just revealing what Mickey wrote in the letter to the crew at the end of 2. That's it. I'm not even fucking with you. That's all it is. It's just a waste of time. Okay, I'm glad I got that off my chest. I don't think you all know how long I've held that in. Let's move on to my final thoughts. Recoded brought a lot of amazing concepts and gameplay ideas to the table, but it ended up really dropping the ball in both its story and final levels, which is a damn shame, as it could have been a top tier game if it had just waited a little longer to absolutely nail those aspects. My final rating for this game is a modest 6.5 out of 10. Pick it up for some fun as hell gameplay, but get ready to kind of turn your brain off for some really bad storytelling. That's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching as usual, and if you enjoyed this, leave a like and a sub down below. Also, if you want to drop a comment down below to let me know your thoughts, or if you're just interested in chatting, go right ahead. That's it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.